KIPI 93.5 FMHD.
Good morning, Kevin Keckler here with Tribal Treasurer with our Tribal Treasures Report. Last time we did the report was in the month of January, I believe. So I'll give a report today of our funds through April 30th, which is 7 months into our fiscal year. First report I'd like to give is the revenue report for our general fund, and then I'll follow up with an expenditure report. In terms of the general fund, in terms of collections, during our budget process last fall, we estimated that we would collect general sales and use tax. We had an estimation of $4 million for the year. To date, we've collected $2,402,000. Tobacco excise tax, we estimated the tribe would collect $530,000. To date, we've collected $242,000, which is about 46% of what we're expected to collect. Contractors excise tax, this is a tax on construction projects that happen on the reservation. We estimated $400,000 we'd collect this fiscal year, and to date we've collected $268,000. Fuel tax, we estimated the tribe would collect $1.2 million during this fiscal year. To date, we've collected $525,000. Tourism tax, it's a smaller tax, but we estimated $15,000 in collections. To date, we've collected $13,128. Land leases, these are our fees generated from the range units. We estimated $3,653,000 to collect for the year. To date, we've collected $3,659,000, so we're over our estimate on collections. Farm pasture leases, these are lands that are leased as farm tracts versus range. We estimated $525,000 for the year. To date, we've collected $508,000, and there's a couple of the tracts that are pending, so I'm expecting that we'll exceed our estimate. Proceeds of labor, what this is it's our undivided interest lands that the tribe owns within our range units. We estimated that we would collect $912,000. To date, we've collected $903,000, so we're almost to where we expected to be. Pasture authorizations, these are fees that are generated from non-member cattle running on our range units. We estimated $200,000 collected for the year, and to date we've collected about $122,000. So we're gaining ground there. But normally these funds come in when in the summertime when the grass is growing. Business licenses, we estimated we'd collect $150,000 in licenses. To date, we've collected $122,000. Liquor licenses, we estimate $12,000. That's a combination of on-reservation liquor and alcohol sales, as well as distributors that bring the product in. We estimated $12,000. To date, we've collected $9,900. And we have a few other small ones. Attorney fees, these are for attorneys that practice within our tribal courts. We estimated $6,000. To date, we've collected $2,000, and I think them are renewed on a annual basis whenever they apply, so it's not necessarily all up front, but it renews throughout the year. Federal indirect cost revenues, these are what the tribe bills our federal contracts that we come in with every year. We estimated to collect $4,500,000 for the year. To date, we've collected $1,829,000. Them are a little less, but they usually happen after the quarters. So we're in good shape there. Burial assistance. This is a fund that comes from the federal government that we receive to assist in our membership's burials. We estimated $2.8 million to come in, and we haven't received any of that this year, but it usually comes in towards the end. Livestock sales. These are the tribe's beef herd. We estimate $90,000 in sales. To date, we've collected $82,000. So we're close. We also estimated sale of some yearling heifers of $30,000. We haven't been paid for them, but them should be coming fairly soon, and that amount will exceed the 30 by quite a bit. In terms of other earnings, we have a lot of smaller earnings that don't amount to a lot. We have a trust fund interest. We estimate $30,000 to date. We've collected 26. Other interest earnings, them usually come in at the end of the year. We're estimating that at 30. But anyway, to date we stand at 9.9 million collected out of the 20,364,000. So we're at about 48.6% collected. In terms of the expenditures, I'll change gears a little bit. Our expenditures for the year were also estimated at $20,364,164, and to date we've expended about $9,924,000. So we're at about 48% spent. So we're in good shape with the expenditures in relation to revenue. We're pretty much right on. So we're doing good there. In terms of the expenditures, I'll highlight a few items. Everybody is pretty much on track with everything. One item that we've overexpended on that we have to adjust is our election board, because we've had additional elections this year with the filling of these 3 seats. So within the next month, we're going to have to add some funds into the election board. Right now, we're overspent about on the books about $45,000, but we have funds to move into that area. I expect that'll happen within the next month. Other items that are of note. Let me go down and cash relief. This is a line item that we use to help our members when they're needing to get to a medical appointment or different things. And right now we're at about 66% spent, and normally we should be at about 58 right now. So we're just a little bit over, but nothing to worry about there. Home heating assistance. We had a lot of assistance through ARPA, so our home heating line item has done well. We've only spent about 45% of it. Elderly grants, we've changed up the process of how our elders get their monthly grants. Used to be they could advance 3 months at the beginning of the year, and then they took it every month as the fiscal year went on. But this year we've allowed them to advance up to 6 months all the way through the fiscal year. So a lot of them have chosen to do that. So our elderly grants is at about 76% spent, but the money's sitting there, so it's not a problem. It's just that a lot of them have chose to advance versus take it every month. So them things are moving along. In terms of funeral grants, these are the grants that we use to help our membership. We estimated $750,000 for funeral grant usage this year. To date, we've spent about $549,000. So we're 73% spent. So we're a little over on that, but as we receive our funeral grant assistance from BIA, that will offset this amount, so there's not a lot to worry about there. In terms of our programs, most of our programs, they usually do very well in terms of where they are in terms of expenditures. Right now, we should be at about 58%, and nobody is exceeding that. Tribal council is at 52% spent. Chairman's office is at 44% spent. The secretary's office at 38% spent. Then the treasurer's office is, at 38, and the secretary's at 50. So everybody's moving along right how they're supposed to there. As a whole, we've spent 9.9 million of the 20,364,000. So our percent spent is at 48.74%. So overall, we're doing very well. And the summer months come, usually that our biggest expenditures, and a lot of these are during the winter months when it's cold, and we're trying to take care of the membership and help them with the utilities and different things. And so we're doing good from a general fund perspective. I'll switch gears a little bit to the ARPA. In terms of the ARPA, everybody's quite aware of what we have with the ARPA. We received 120,405,000 when the ARPA started. To date, we have a balance of about $23,916,000 unspent. Of that, we're moving down to, most of the funds have been obligated so far. That means they've been put to use by a program. Our unbudgeted funds for ARPA, this was as of yesterday, after some actions were taken. We have about $268,000 in unobligated ARPA funds pending council action this coming month. In terms of the line items of where we spent the money, the first item was, everyone was aware of the command center and that area that used the funds. We originally used that, and we had 764,000. Oh, excuse me, this isn't the command center. This was the ARPA budget for the office up there that distributed the ARPA checks, the utility assistance, things like that. We appropriated $764 million at the beginning of the pandemic, and to date we've got about $165,000 left. In terms of the district capital outlays, this is where each district got $1 million for the housing projects. There was $15 million set aside. To date, there's $14,258,000 remaining, so not a lot has happened with that. People are probably aware of the application process and things that happened and are still happening, but most of them funds are there. In terms of the command center, throughout the pandemic, they were allocated $5,582,000, and that's what employed most of the people that was when the pandemic was going. And to date, we have about $218,000 left of that. The booster incentive, that was for the booster shots for the membership. We set aside $1.5 million for that, and that program has since ended. I think February 28th was the last day for that, but there's a balance of about $1,500 in that. The old age homeless shelter, which was the community building up by the bingo hall, they were set aside $282,000, and that program overspent a little bit. We're making some adjustments, but they were in the red about $9,516. The The family shelter, they were set aside $374,000, and to date they have about $139,000 remaining. The New Hope Homeless Shelter, which is across the street from the radio station, they were set aside $295,000 and change, and to date they're at about $54,000 balance. So they're nearing the end of theirs. We had a variety of categories for mainly for computer purchase and software, and everything had to be done online during the pandemic. The tribe set aside $242,000 and change. To date, we've got about $132,000 remaining. Other actions taken by the council was the construction of the airport. They're resurfacing the airport. Council took action to assist in the resurfacing of that. So $387,000 and change was set aside for the airport. To date, they haven't used any of it, but I think they ran out of time last fall, and that project is slated to go this summer. The tribe also set aside $339,000 for the elderly ramp program. This helped the membership that had needed assistance with ramps and things like that. $339,000 was set aside. That project is slowly winding down. Got about $9,700 remaining. Council appropriated a grant to Credco and all the affiliates of Credco as they applied for funds in the amount of $1,382,000 and change. And them funds have all been given to Credco, so we have a zero balance. We had a healing to wellness court that was funded through this. They received $106,000, almost $107,000, and they've been zeroed out, so they've spent all their funds. During the pandemic, we also had due to the number of claims and COVID-related claims, the insurance, tribal insurance, skyrocketed from the bills from the medical field. So the tribe set aside $2,280,000 for insurance for the tribe's employees. That was what was needed to get through the pandemic. And those funds have been given to the insurance account, so we have a zero balance. The next item is a recording equipment for the tribal council. Tribal secretary requested $197,000. And to buy the new recording equipment that we're now using at council, there's a $105,000 balance there. Food pantry, we set aside $60,000 to be used by the food pantry to assist our membership when they're needing some assistance with food. To date, we have a $40,000 balance, so they've used 20 of it. Private home repairs, this was used to assist the elderly, those that received storm damage in the last few years. And tribal council set aside $1,771,000. To date, we've got a balance of about $1,446,000. So they're moving with them. In terms of the animal shelter, during the pandemic, the tribe council assisted the shelter with $261,000. And to date, they've got about $88,000 remaining. Winding down here, I got a few more, and then this will end this. The Planning Economic Development Office requested some funds. They were appropriated $179,000 and change. To date, they've got about $150,000 remaining. The ARPA day labor program, which was used by the res runners and the elderly assistants, and they were set aside $1,771,000, and to date they've got about $1 million remaining. During the pandemic, early on, the tribe, when it was COVID dollars at the time before the ARPA funds came, the tribe used some health dollars to shore it up until those funds come. $1,603,070 was used by the health department. They were reimbursed them funds just lately, so they were made whole. So that balance is at zero. $4 million was set aside for the LTM expansion of the grocery store across from the powwow grounds. Those funds are all remaining yet, $4 million. This winter, we set aside some funds for emergency propane and housing assistance. We set aside $200,000 to assist the membership, and to date, there's about 62 remaining. And the ARPA utility assistance, which we just wrapped up, we set aside $3,075,000, and we've since added a little bit into that based on the number of families that participated. And that program is going to wind up being about $3,140,000 when we're done. And then we had the ARPA COVID Recovery Assistance Program. That was for the bonuses for the employees. That program has since wrapped up, and we set aside $1,150,000, and we went back and got a little extra to finish that, and so that program is now finished. But overall, like I said earlier, we received $120,405,000, and to date we have a balance of $23,916,000. So that wraps up the ARPA. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about our sales tax and our taxation and the impact that the state of South Dakota has had on our taxes. The membership's aware of this past state legislative session. They talked about reducing the grocery tax, and as a result, the state did not do that, but they lowered the general use and sales from 4.5% to 4.2%, and this takes effect on July 1st. So, as a result of the state's decisions, we estimate that that's going to cost us about $25,000 a month in general sales and use. We have, however, our tax collections have exceeded where we should be, so our revenue on our sales and use tax will be okay. I estimate we're probably going to collect about, with the reduction in the from 4.5 to 4.2%. I think the tribe's still going to see about a $300,000 excess in our sales tax estimates. We estimated 4, and I think we're probably going to come in around 4.3 collected. In terms of the contractor's excise, we're about at 80% collected now. Tobacco tax, we're a little behind, but that tobacco tax seems like it's always a month behind when we get the funds. So we've only received 6 months of that tax, and we're at about 45.8%. So we're just a little bit behind. Tourism, we've collected almost all of what we estimated we'd collect. We're at 93.3%. Alcohol, we estimated a $300,000 collection over the year, and we're at about 47% of that. Fuel tax, we're at about right where we should be, 51.4%, but we haven't received April's yet, so that'll put us in excess of where we should be. And the business licenses and the liquor licenses are about 3/4 of where we're at this year. So everything's in good shape from a tax collection perspective. Talk a little bit about a couple items that people seem always interested in knowing what's going on with our TETRA fund. During this past session, Tribal Council, TETRA was not able to probably get the proposals and things. As you guys are aware, they solicit for proposals every year, and from a variety of tribal programs, and that didn't happen during the last fiscal year because of the pandemic and different things. But this past month, two resolutions were brought forth. First one was Resolution 50-23, and during that resolution, basically, tribal council allocated $3,030,360 to the some TECHA awards. They were awarded in three categories. The Economic Development Fund, the $300,000 was allocated to a couple projects, and the Infrastructure Development Project, there was $1,516,168 allocated, and in the Education, Health, Rec, and Social Welfare section of the ordinance, a total of $1,214,192 was allocated. So them were effective as of this past council session. And the other one, they did two of them based on the last fiscal years, I believe, but that one was Resolution 51-2023, and this resolution authorizes spending of $2,825,897. The Economic Development Fund, a total of $288,400 was approved for funding. In the Infrastructure Development, total of $1,738,256 was approved for funding. And in the Education, Health, Recreation, Social Welfare, a total of $799,241 was approved. So that pretty much, I guess, summarizes the treasurer's report through the month of April. If there's any questions or anything, if not, thank you.